Hello there, What Culture? I'm Ben Roy, and today we're going to take a look into the dark side. Where there's light, there's dark. Where there's good, there's evil. And when there are Jedi, there are Sith. The dichotomy between the two sides of the Force have been at the very core of Star Wars since its inception back in 1977, where Obi-Wan Kenobi faced off against Darth Vader. Since then, we've met many members of the dark side, from Uncle Palp's Emperor Palpatine to Darth Maul, and we've seen so many Jedi-Sith conflict that it's almost impossible to imagine one without the other. Although they might not be in Disney's new trilogy just yet, Kylo Ren could get us there, they do remain intrinsically linked. And as Luke explains, something that Thanos probably would approve of, the Force needs balance. But where did it all begin? The Jedi Order can be traced back over 25,000 years according to legends, but they were around for eons before their biggest rivals were created. It wasn't until 69,000 BBY that the Sith would rise, and they were born from one of the Jedi's lowest, darkest points. Around 7,000 years before the Battle of Yavin came a period known as the 100-Year Darkness. Cracks started to appear in the Jedi Order as sections of the Knights started experimenting with the Force and how it could be used, pushing its boundaries further than ever before. These rogue Jedi discovered that they could harness the power of the Force to bend life itself, but only by tapping into the dark side could they achieve true mastery. Obviously, the Council were against such practices, and the rogue Jedi were sent into exile, thus beginning the period known as the 100-Year War. These rogue Jedi were led by Ajinta Pal, who rose to the rank of Master before his studies of alchemy took him to the dark side. Numerous conflicts were fought across the century, with the dark Jedi constantly being pushed back by the light, and coming back with new fearsome creatures each time, only to suffer further defeat. Eventually, after defeat on the planet Korbos, even though Pal himself slayed dozens of Jedi, the dark Jedi were rounded up and sent into hyperspace by the Republic. The exiles eventually found their way to the planet Korriban, where lived a species known as the Sith. These humanoid creatures had bone spores and tentacles on their red faces, and were highly attuned to the dark side of the Force. Led by King Hakagram Grouch, try saying that more than once, the Sith initially resisted to the exiled Jedi settling on their homeworld, but were won over by their superior technology and their proliferation in the dark side of the Force. Pal managed to collude with Grouch's shadow hand, eventually slaying the king himself. From then on, the Dark Jedi would be worshipped as godlike species on the planet. Pal then assumed the title of the first Dark Lord of the Sith, with his followers interbreeding with the Sith race, thus creating an empire that would expand across worlds and span centuries, fighting the Jedi over and over again. With Disney buying Lucasfilm came the Great EU Purge, whereby decades of novels, games, and comics were wiped from canon and moved over to Legends, with the intention of the company creating their own brand new canon. That, however, is included in cherry-picking elements from the old expanded universe. This is why we've seen Grand Admiral Thrawn be reintroduced into Rebels, and why Solo brought back material arts from Teräs Käsi. Among these recanonized events is the 100-Year Darkness, which gives a brief mention in 2015's comic book Star Wars IX: The Showdown on the Smuggler's Moon Part 2. Ajinta Pal, meanwhile, isn't a name that's canon anymore, but the unidentified Jedi Rogue is, which means for all intents and purposes, that character remains the very first Sith. The first Sith to mention in canon is actually Darth Bane, courtesy of the Clone Wars, who had the greatest impact on the Sith since its formation by introducing the Rule of Two, a master and an apprentice. But with new Star Wars stories reintroducing things back into canon, like the Old Republic, maybe Pal will be reinstated as well. So what do you guys think? Do you think Pal will be reinstated? Or do you think we'll get a brand new story altogether? Let us know down below, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I've been Ben Roy Turner from whatsculture.com, and I'll catch you later.